Hi Richard, I really enjoyed our first lesson. I just had one big question so I played this keyboard the first time, but there are two. So can you tell me a bit about what they do?
Well, being an organist, you have to be like an octopus, right? So here there are only two keyboards, as you can see, as they're called. They're called manuals, actually.
Okay.
Some organs in this country have 3, 4, or even 5 keyboards.
Wow.
If you go to America, you might find organs with 6 or 7 different manuals. It's amazing. So you have to be very flexible at playing all of these keyboards and, of course, all of the stops. So if you have all of these stops and only one keyboard, you're very limited with what you can do. So one of the great things about playing the organ is having the ability of, you know, soloing out stops, playing stops down here and playing stops up there. And that means you can have different sounds down here.
Okay.
Like in an orchestra, right? So you have, you have your strings and you might have a trombone section over there. You could play the strings down here on the grate, as it's called.
Okay.
And then you could play the trombone-y, brassy sounds up here at the same time, but doing different things. If you had one keyboard only, you wouldn't be able to separate them out.
Sure.
So the grate division is where all of the loud organ sounds are. I think it's better if I just demonstrate it to you.
Yeah, great.
And we hear it, because it sounds glorious in this building.
Beautiful. So you've told me that this bottom manual is called the grate, but I'd love to know what's the top one.
What's the top one? That's a very good question. This manual is called the swell.
Okay.
And do you know why it's called the swell? Do you know what happens when something swells?
It grows.
Grows. Gets bigger?
Yeah.
So that's what happens to the sound on the swell. We can make the sound essentially get bigger. Mm-hmm. And we do that by using this pedal down here.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to hop on again?
Okay.
And you can experience it yourself. I'll show you exactly what to do. All right. So first thing to do is pull out some of these stops.
Okay.
Like so. And you play a chord, any chord you like.
On
On the swell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's it. And then if you put your foot on the pedal, push it down, pull it towards you. That's it with your heel. Now play the chord again. Ah. Now, is that louder or quieter?
Quieter.
It's quieter, isn't it? Now, why don't you try playing the same chord, holding the chord down,
Okay.
and then pushing the pedal away from you. See what happens to the sound. Ah.
Oh, that makes such a difference.
It does, doesn't it? So the swell pedal actually allows us to be more expressive, not just by adding stops, but we can use the swell pedal to allow the phrase to have more of a lyrical singing sense to it.
Yeah.
What we can also do with the swell and having two different manuals is we can have solo sounds. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we could have quite a loud stop on the swell and a quiet one down here. How about I demonstrate that to you?
Yeah.
I'm going to play a little piece by Jeremiah Clark, which, if you've been to a wedding, you may have heard this played before the wedding starts.
Okay.
So I've got a flute down here on the grate, and I've got a trumpet up here on the swell. I've also got another example.
Yeah.
If I change some of these stops, I'm going to pull out some strings on the
nice.
swell. They're very beautiful here. I'm going to use this flute down on the lower manual here. It's called the grate. And you may recognize this from a certain sci-fi film score.
That's such a stunning piece.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
And of course, having the two keyboards here means that the possibilities of sounds that we can create are endless.
Okay, so you've said that the grate sort of controls that. It's the control panel of the organ.
Yeah.
So what did you mean by that?
So the whole organ is essentially based around the grate, okay? And you are also able to play most of the organ on the grate. Via the use of these stops here.
Okay.
These are called couplers.
Right.
And they literally do what it says on the tin. They couple the keyboards together. So what I can do is play the swell from the grate.
Okay.
I'll demonstrate that by playing another hymn, this time on full organ. And you watch the swell keys. I'm not going to touch them.
It's amazing to see the keyboard sort of playing itself.
It is, isn't it? It's one of the wonderful things actually about having a mechanical organ like this, is you can see the mechanics working and the keys going up and down.
Please, may I have a go?
Oh, of course you can. Are you going to play the same hymn?
Yeah, I'll try to.
Well, this is a full organ sound, so you have all of the stops on the grate,
Okay.
all of the stops on the swell. Take it away.